Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I'm going to go over the plot structure for Romeo and Juliet. I'm basically going to cover Acts 1 through 3, since that's where we are right now. And it's based on the Freytag pyramid, but it doesn't fit the Freytag model 100%, and we'll talk about that as we go along. We know that these are all the different parts of the plot of a story, but usually the climax is up here. I'm calling this the turning point, which is based on one of our textbooks, calls it the turning point, and then the climax comes near the end of Act 5, and we call that the catastrophe. And you can check it online. There are other people who also follow this model of the plot structure for Romeo and Juliet. All right, the play begins with a fight between the Montagues and the Capulets. It actually started with the servants. Then Benvolio tries to break it up. Tybalt comes and exacerbates the problem, and next thing you know, the whole town is in the street fighting, and even Lord Capulet and Lord Montague are out there in their nightgowns because we find out later that it's early in the morning, like before 9 o'clock, and they're all fighting in the streets. Then we meet Romeo and we find out that he is sad. He's depressed because he is in love with a young lady named Rosaline who does not return his affections. Then Romeo decides to go to the Capulet party to see Rosaline. When he gets there, he actually meets Juliet, and it's love at first sight. Romeo and Juliet declare their love and plan to marry. This is now Act 2, when Romeo jumped over the Capulet wall, listened to Juliet as she was contemplating her love for him, and they declare their love for each other and decide that they will marry the next day. By the end of Act 2, they actually do get married, and that's how Act 2 ends. Then we have the turning point, which is the beginning of Act 3. Romeo ends up killing Tybalt despite his efforts not to get involved in any violence. We call this peripeteia, which is the reversal of fortune. And Romeo not only has a reversal of fortune, but he recognizes it when it happens, that he has fallen into the hands of fate. He says, "Oh, I am fortune's fool." And that moment is called anagnorisis. It's the moment of recognition. So our tragic hero not only has a reversal of fortune, but it's made all the more dramatic that he is keenly aware that things have changed for the worse. Later in Act 3, Juliet sides with Romeo. She has a very passionate speech, and she sides with Romeo. She now sees herself as Mrs. Romeo Montague, and this is her turning point. Before, she was married on paper. Now she is emotionally and psychologically married. And this is where we are currently. Juliet and Romeo consummate their marriage. That was the last thing that we saw. And after this, her parents will come in and tell her that she's supposed to marry Paris. And of course, she will have an extremely passionate reaction to the idea of marrying someone else when she's already married to Romeo. However, she cannot tell them that this happened. It's a completely secret marriage. And you should also know, in a lot of societies, if a man and a woman never consummate their marriage, they're not actually ever really married. So Shakespeare makes sure that we know that this is not just an ideal love. This is a physical relationship between these two. They are physically united as well as emotionally and spiritually united. All right, that was less than 5 minutes. And that is my take on the plot structure of Romeo and Juliet. If you need to add to your notes, please do so. If you're absent, hopefully this will help you to complete the assignment. Okay, I'll see you back in class. Stay awesome. Stay fabulous. Bye-bye.